Yes, I am ready. Okay, now it's okay. Am I audible now? Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Good morning, all the professors and ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Keshav Chandra Mandal from Kolkata, India. At first, I'd like to thank Marve Kidrius, the general coordinator of the conference, for giving me the opportunity to present my paper on the topic Gender Empowerment in Local Governments, the Indian Scenario. Also, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers of the CUKROVA 10th International Scientific Researchers Conference being held at the beautiful city of Adana, Turkey. Respected head of the session, Professor Dr. Dervish Alimi. I don't know whether you or not, whatever. I would like to thank the head of the session. All right, so let me begin my paper. I will discuss my paper by dividing it into four parts, namely, first introduction. Excuse me? No, I don't have PowerPoint to share with me. Okay, I'll just give it lecture method. All right, shall I continue? Okay, so I will deliver my presentation by dividing it into four parts. At first, introduction. That will be included a statement of problem, objectives of the study, collection of data, research methodology, and second part will discuss about the concept of gender and a small review of literature and necessity of the study, results, and the third part will discuss about results of the study, and then the concluding part will be recommendations and conclusion. So let me begin my study. My topic, once again, I would like to say gender empowerment in local governments, the Indian scenario. Right. So, in the beginning of the new millennium, the United Nations declared 8 Millennium Development Goals, in which goal number 3 was to promote gender equality and empower women. Further, at the end of the 2015, the United Nations adopted 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which officially ushered in on 16 January 2016, whereas goal number 5 concerns gender equality and empowerment of all women and girls, and the goal was targeted to be achieved by 2030. In accordance with the SDGs, almost all the member states made policy changes and undertook necessary measures in their respective countries to attain necessary goals, and India undertook necessary measures in in attaining its objectives, resulting to the combined efforts of the world leaders. Girls' enrollment ratio in schools has been increased. The gap of literacy between girls and boys has increased, has narrowed down, and women's rate of participation in local governments and in decision-making process, maybe in local governments or maybe in cabinet or in their respective parliaments, has also increased, and not only that, women's political representation as a whole has also been significantly increased. In spite of some achievements, there remains gender disparity in political, social, economic, and educational fields. In this regard, the former United Nations General Secretary Ban Ki-moon asserted that too many women continue to die during pregnancy or from childbirth-related complications. Progress tends to bypass women and those who are lower on the economic ladder or are disadvantaged because of their age, disability, and ethnicity. Moreover, the Human Development Report 2015 highlights that globally women earn 24% less than men and hold only 25% of administrative and managerial positions in the business world, while 32% of businesses have no women in senior management positions. Women still hold only 22% of seats in single or lower houses of national parliament. In last few years, the situation has improved a lot. As of January 2023, there are 31 countries where 32 women serve as heads of state of government. Also, it comes to light that 22.8% of cabinet members heading ministries and 13 countries hold 50% or more of the positions of cabinet ministers. Only 26.5% of parliamentarians in single or lower houses are women, up from 11% in 1995. Though the proportion of women has been increased manifold in their national parliaments in comparison with last 3 decades, in every country women are more likely to live in poverty than their male counterparts. Besides, women remain as a disadvantage in the labor market globally. About 3 quarters of the working age men participate in the labor force compared to the only half of working age women. Women earn 24% less than men globally in 85% of the 92 countries, with data on underemployment or unemployment rates by level of education for the years 2012 to 2013. Women with advanced education have higher rates of unemployment than men with similar levels of education. Despite continuous progress, today the world still has so far to go towards equal gender representation in private and government or public decision making levels. The current global labor force participation has improved significantly, but still there is a gap. According to International Labour Organization, it is found that only less than 47% women are participating in economic activities, whereas this rate for men is 72%. Thus, we find a clear gap of 25%. The above data show that women face a huge gap in employment, and often they are compelled to work in unhygienic and vulnerable conditions. Since the Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing in 1995, more than 2.5 decades have passed, but the status of women has not changed much. It is a fact that today, despite considerable progress, the platforms envisioned gender equality in all dimensions of life is still an unfinished agenda. Women earn less than men and are more likely to work in poor quality jobs. A third suffers physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. Gaps in reproductive rights and health care leave 800 women dying in childbirth each day. There is no any single country where women enjoy equal rights and freedom of choices. A lot of concrete measures have already been taken to close the gaps of inequality between men and women. Many member states of the UN have formulated gender specific laws and programs for empowerment of women. India, as a signatory of the UN Charter, is an integral part of the developmental goals set up by the UN and its various agencies from time to time. India, immediately after independence, granted equal rights and freedom to its women at par with men. Also, India formulated various laws and policies for narrowing down the gaps of gender discrimination and ensuring women's empowerment. Statement of problem. Women form the hub of human capital and they are the greatest assets of any country, particularly in India. Hence, they need rational care, legal protection, and growth opportunities for making India a superpower. Results of different studies show that women work double than men and contribute doubly in the economy, but still they are considered as a burden to family and society, in spite of the fact that women are the better managers in both family and politics. They are neglected in these institutions. In almost all the societies, women's rights are suppressed and their human rights are violated. They become the prey of men, not only at home, even on road and in offices. So everywhere it is seen that women are discriminated, oppressed and suppressed. Women and girls enjoy lower status even in society, family and workplace. They lesser food and care at home They are lowly engaged in economic and political activities. Their voices are unheard in meeting halls. If heard, those are rarely got importance and recorded in the minutes of the meetings, and their suggestions and prescriptions are rarely implemented at the local or national level. Infanticide, female feticide, rape, torture, bride burning, kicking, slapping, abusing are common phenomena in most of the families in India. There is no doubt of the fact that without women's equal participation in social, political, and economic fields, the dream of India to becoming a developed nation by 2030, as envisioned by our present Prime Minister Narendra Modi, will surely be at stake. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, once asserted that to awaken the people, it is the woman who should be awakened. Once she is on the move, the family moves, the nation moves. He further added that the building of India as a nation will also be judged by the position of women in Indian society. So it is found that India actually is still rural. India is still having rural economy, and India lives on villages. Almost 6.4 lakh villages and more than 4,000 cities are there in India. If the rural people are particularly women are not empowered through participation in local political decision-making bodies and other economic activities, the overall development of India as a whole will sure to stumble. So similarly, women's participation in urban local bodies and economic activities is also important for their political and economic empowerment. But women's rate of participation in democratic decision-making process remained very low and dismal after the independence, and their status in society was also deplorable. Women's participation in varying degrees within the country failed to achieve equal delivery of public services, mobilize physical and human resources, harnessing synergies, and exploit developmental potential even within the country. That is why the government of India set up some commissions from time to time, and in 1977 it formed a committee under the leadership of Ashok Mehta. But he at first suggested for three-tier panchayati Raj system, but his recommendations were not implemented by the government of India. Formally, Indian federalism evolved as a two-tier structure till 1992. But it was P.V. Narasimha Rao in the 1991. He at first he along with the then finance minister Mr. Dr. Manmohan Singh liberalized Indian economy, and in 1992 the then Congress government formulated the 73rd and 74th Constitution Amendment Acts, ushering a new era in the local governance system in India. The enactments of the 73rd Constitution Act, Amendment Act, and the subsequent state-wise Panchayati Raj Acts in India have brought to frontline the significance of grassroots democratic processes. This change in the Indian political system is the result of a growing conviction that the big government cannot achieve growth and development in a society without people's direct participation and initiative. So, after the enactment of the twin constitutional laws, about 1 million women came to the corridor of local decision-making bodies, but various studies show that the state of affairs in respect of women's empowerment through their participation in local government bodies is dismal. Thus, women's lower level of decision-making power in local governance leads to lower level of women's empowerment. Objective of the study: the principal objective of the research was to study the nature and extent of participation of women in three-tier panchayati Raj institutions and municipalities. Apart from that, the investigation sought to study some other aspects of women's empowerment. These include: number one, the extent of people's participation, especially women's participation in Gram Samsad and ward committee meetings. If women participated actively, then what factors facilitated their process? If not participated actively, what were the problems standing in the way of women's participation? Number two, the qualitative change that took place after women's participation in different tiers of the Panchayati Raj institutions and municipalities after the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Acts. Number three, people's perception regarding women's participation in the local government bodies. Number four, to trace out the roles and functions of common women as electors as well as women representatives as office bearers in the functioning of Panchayati Raj institutions and municipalities. Number five, to find out the perception of the general people about their participation. And number six, to examine major determinants of women's participation in local governments. And finally, to develop a policy prescription for actualization of empowerment of women after carefully studying the present state of affairs in this regard. Universe of the study. The study was carried out by me between 2015 and 2016 in three Indian states of West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, and Rajasthan. Out of 28 states and 8 union territories in India, these three states of East, South, and North India were selected purposefully because these states are historically, geographically, lingually, culturally, and regionally varied. Hence, they give a representative character of India. Moreover, the states are possessing varied characteristics in relation to social, economic, educational, and cultural status of women and their pattern of participation in different socio-economic and political activities is also unique in nature. Okay. Next, from the three states, further 3 districts were selected purposefully. These districts were Paschim Medinipur in West Bengal, Kanchipuram district in Tamil Nadu, and Tung district in Rajasthan. However, all the districts are having both rural and urban population. Collection of data. After selecting 3 districts purposefully, focus was shifted to collection of data from Gram Panchayat and municipality level. At first, 2 Gram Panchayats and 2 municipalities were selected from each district or of 3 states. In this way, total 6 Gram Panchayats and 6 municipalities were selected from the 5 states. At the second stage, 2 Gram Sangshads from each Gram Panchayat and ward and municipality wards were selected from 3 districts. At the third stage, 10 voters, 5 males and 5 females from each Gram Sangshad and each ward were selected and interviewed. In this way, total 120 voters from Gram Panchayats and another 120 voters from municipalities were interviewed. Apart from that, 35 females and 40 males comprising office bearers of 3-tier Panchayati Raj bodies, teachers, members of different political parties, block level officers and other officers are contacted and interviewed. Thus, a total size of the sample was 315 Indian citizens who were 8 years or above aged. The research technique, multi-stage random sampling method was adopted to identify the target population for collecting primary data. Besides, the states and districts were selected on the basis of multi-stage purposive sampling. The research methodology. The research is based on both secondary as well as primary data, which were supplemented with first-hand individual observation and information. Major sources of secondary data comprise books, journals, evaluative studies, periodicals, and newspapers. The primary sources including government records, acts, manuals, reports, and statutes. To supplement the theoretical knowledge, empirical study has also been undertaken. Primary data have been collected from the office records of Gram Panchayats, Panchayat Samitis, Jila Parishads, or district level offices. And then technique of collection of data, I am just leaving it, and then I will come to the overview of literature. Only small literature, though in the book I have discussed about more than 100 books, but here it is very difficult for me to discuss all of that. That's why I am just talking about a few books, and these are some relevant books let me share with you. Nandita Vatla et al. Conducted a cross-cultural study of women's participation in rural local bodies. This empirical study was conducted in 3 Indian districts, namely Mysore district in Karnataka, Alwar district in Rajasthan, and Gajapati district in Odisha. The study was conducted on the basis of primary data collected from the elected representatives of all the 3 tiers of local government using quantitative and qualitative methods. And then, in an edited volume, Decentralization, Institutions and Politics in Rural India, Satyajit Singh and Pradeep K. Sharma in 2007 in their book highlighted various aspects of local government. The contributors deal with different issues related to local governance. This collection of articles supports the call for democratic devolution made by the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act that empowers the rural poor and makes the best use of local knowledge. And next, I would like to talk about Evelyn Hust's study, Political Representation and Empowerment, Women in Institution of Local Government, in 2 blocks, Balipota block of Khurda district of Gania block in Noyagarh district, and the most backward most backward state of Odisha in the Indian Union, appreciates the need for quota for increasing participation of women in local. Yeah, yes, just a minute. Just give me 5 minutes, please, ma'am. Please give me 5 minutes. Uh, uh, 1 minute only. Okay, okay. It is found that in Gram Panchayat there are 2.39 lakh Gram Panchayats here in India, and block level 1.68 lakh people are participating in these institutions. And what I have seen that though the participation rate of women has been increased after the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Acts, but in the ground situation is that actual empowerment of women in rural local bodies have not yet been possible or not yet been established because they have lack of economic power, they have lack of knowledge, they have lack of educational rate, and to bear and rear the children. Most of the women cannot participate properly, and due to their lower financial status, male guardians and maybe sons and husbands mainly take decisions in favor of them, and political leaders, male political leaders also interrupt or hinder in every step, almost every step for in their empowerment. Thus we find that a lot of measures need to be taken in the days to come for women's real empowerment, because they need to learn how to earn, how to be economically self-sufficient, how to be assertive in the meetings, and how to prepare before attending meetings, and with increasing their level of education, they can take more assertive roles in formulating policies and implementing the policies, and also in enjoying the fruits of development. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'd like to conclude here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, if there is any question from any part, please, I'm ready to take.